And welcome back to our Commitment 2026 coverage, primary election night here in California. I'm Edie Lambert.
And I'm Golston Dart. The numbers are still coming in. We've got you covered.
We sure do. I'm Curtis May. We have our team of reporters across California, from San Francisco to L.A. and all across the valley.
This is a race we've been covering for months. We have been unpacking the governor's race, and we also have our political analysts, Democratic strategist Stephen Maviglio and Republican Tim Rosales.
All right, let's bring you some results. We want to give you a look at the race for governor right now and the top 4 candidates. We've seen these numbers stay pretty consistent, not a lot of new numbers coming in at this hour. Steve Hilton, the Republican, in the lead. Oh, little jump right there up to 27%. We've got whole numbers. Now it's easier to calculate. All right, and Democrat Xavier Becerra 1 point behind. Let's take a look at the next 2. Tom Styer coming in at 20%, so trailing by 5 points there, but still in the 3rd position, and Chad Bianco staying at a pretty stubborn 11% through the night.
And tonight, Matt Mahan, Katie Porter, and Antonio Villaraigosa all conceding thus far. Tonight, we're going to go to Andrea Flores right now, who's covering the governor's race for us. She's at Xavier Becerra's campaign party and headquarters, if you will, in Los Angeles. And let's go to Andrea right now. Hey.
Yeah, we're here live at the La Plaza de Artes y Cultura, and it has been a night of support here at this Latino hub for the community. And we know that tonight Becerra's remarks were kicked off by his wife and his 3 daughters. They're calling this the Becerra era. That's what they called it here tonight, and just showing you the crowd is starting to thin out a little bit. But he started off his speech by just saying the California dream is alive tonight. He said he was really the underdog. He was being called to drop out earlier in the race, but he was the underdog. He stayed in the fight and stayed the course. And he says his family is the secret sauce. Here's what else he had to say tonight.
Tonight, the people of the great state of California, in the greatest nation on earth, have spoken loudly and proudly. And while I take nothing for granted, there are lots of ballots left to be counted. It appears that we are on track to advance to November.
And if he does, in fact, advance to November, some of the talking points that he mentioned about his campaign moving forward and really focusing in on those undecided voters would be affordable housing, being big-hearted but tight-fisted with dollars, and protecting the rights to vote and protecting the rights to women. He took a couple of jabs at President Donald Trump about the war in Iran, about gas prices, about unemployment numbers, but really said that he is looking forward to November and that he has the guts and the ganas to, that's loosely translated in Spanish, to the kind of the fierce guts that it takes to be able to advance to November. And so it'll be really interesting to see what he is able to do should he advance to November. But a lot of support here from downtown Los Angeles tonight, and of course from his family. For now, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right. Thank you so much for that part of our coverage tonight, Andrea. Let's go to Lizzie Mitri, who's also in the L.A. area, Huntington Beach, covering the Steve Hilton campaign. It looks like these are going to be the top 2 from what the numbers look like so far.
Yeah, what a night for Steve Hilton supporters. So much excitement tonight. You can probably see the leftovers of the confetti on the stage. That's from when Hilton took the stage. And during his speech, he actually mentioned the last Republican governor California had, alluding to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Take a listen.
I know that some of you may be watching and saying, who is this guy with a funny accent? Thinks he can be governor of California. Well, you know, there was actually an immigrant who was governor of California not that long ago.
He spoke for about 20 minutes to lots of cheers, chanting, applause, and he ended it basically by saying this is just the beginning, this is the first stage, but he says the true fight starts tomorrow. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Lizzie. And we really saw a lot of confidence from those 2 campaign parties. A little different at the Tom Styer campaign in San Francisco, where he's been talking about having patience as these ballots are coming in. Let's check in with Cecil Hannibal for more on that.
he did close that speech urging patience, and we've been out here all night here at the Tom Styer watch party. Things here have winded down. When he first got on stage, he mentioned that they were, optimistic, but of course, as the polls have closed, as the ballots have been counted, a different energy in the room. But I will say he mentioned some of the same things he has on the campaign trail, right? His vision is to simply make California better for the working class. He wants to go after big corporations and, the wealthy. And he said that those wealthy and the wealthy and corporations have had a big impact on this race. Here's what he had to say.
We saw a direct causal relationship between my plans for change and the $55 million of corporate money that flooded in to stop me. Single-payer health care? Here come the insurance companies. Clean energy? Here comes Chevron. Taxing AI? What about Meta? Lowering electric bills? Hello, PG&E. To quote FDR, never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today.
And a direct quote from him was, "I welcome their hatred," talking about those big corporations. And like you mentioned, his closing words, now we just have to be patient. So, yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. Guys, back to you.
All right, Cecil, thank you so much for that. Well, we are also stationed at the Chad Bianco headquarters there down in Riverside County, where he is a sheriff, and he is in 4th place right now with the numbers. And here's what he had to say going into tonight.
I made this decision for this one. For all of your kids, for all of your grandkids that do not have the opportunity that we had when we were this age in California. And it's not because of any of you, it's not because of any of your businesses, it's because of an absolute failed political agenda in California. And there is only one way to fix that, and that is to absolutely disrupt and destroy this agenda in Sacramento that is ruining our lives.
All right. Well, again, you heard Sheriff Bianco there holding his campaign event for governor. That was, again, in Riverside County. And Jason Marks was also there, shows us what it looked like earlier tonight.
Well, they opened the doors here at 6:30 at this facility in Eastvale in Riverside County. Big party for Chad Bianco, all of his supporters, hoping that it will turn into a, quote, victory party. Let me step out of the way and show you what's going on. People are still here milling around. Every time the results come in, there's a cheer whenever Chad Bianco gets a little bump. He's been here since 6:30. He came in, I spoke with him. He seemed in a great mood. I said to him, how do you feel? He said he feels great. He just wants to see these votes come in. And he said it could be a long process. It could be several days before they actually know the results. So why people are here right now, as they're here hoping that it's a victory party, we might not know something for several days until all of those votes are counted. Now back to you.
All right, well, let's check back in with Ashley, because we are getting a pretty clear picture in the race for governor, maybe more than we thought we would at this hour.
Exactly. I mean, there are really a lot of people who didn't think we'd have these types of results so soon. Let's check in with our political strategists who've been with us all night. Democratic strategist Steve Maviglio, Republican strategist Tim Rosales. Tim, just what do you make of the night so far, especially when it comes to this governor's race?
Well, I think no surprises, right? What we thought we were going to see going into this night is turning out to be what we're seeing. Xavier Becerra and Steve Hilton at the top, Tom Styer kind of picking up some momentum towards the end here when we've kind of seen that a little bit, and then everyone else kind of fading into the distance. And I think that that's exactly what's playing out with the numbers as we see them now. And I don't see that trend changing. We haven't seen anything that would indicate that that the coming days or votes are going to show anything different.
Steve, your final thoughts as we wrap up the night.
I think there's going to be more Democratic votes coming in. The numbers will bump up a little bit, but this is much as predicted. And Styer, despite all the money he spent, really never broke through that cap that he had among voters, and he comes up a little bit short. The fear of a Republican versus Republican November election scared the bejesus out of Democrats, and that's why they showed up in big numbers tonight.
All right, Steve and Tim, we appreciate you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's walk you through more of the statewide results, starting with, we showed you the governor's race a moment ago, so we'll start here with the lieutenant governor's race. And you can see Fiona Ma in the lead here with just over 20%, and very close second here with Republican Gloria Romero, who was a longtime Democrat who changed direction, became a Republican, and is now teaming up with Steve Hilton as kind of a ticket as governor and lieutenant governor, a team for this election.
All right, we can show you some of the other results right now, and these are the two candidates that will advance to the election in November. The incumbent Shirley Weber there, you can see the check mark, and her challenger Donald Wagner, who will also be advancing, and these will be your choices for Secretary of State.
Let's take a look at the controller's race. We know that this race is also set for who you can expect to see in November. The incumbent Malia Cohen and her Republican challenger Herb Morgan, a chief investment officer based in San Diego.
All right, we've put together the latest on the race for California Treasurer. We've got one check mark there by Eleni Kounalakis, who will advance to the November election with 36% of the vote in at this hour, and right behind her, Republican Jennifer Hawks, followed by Jennifer, by the way, retired businesswoman, also experienced in Bay Area private schools. Ana Caballero there right behind her, state senator and former mayor, and then David Serpa coming in fourth.
Okay, let's look at the Attorney General results. Again, this is another race that is now set for November. The incumbent Rob Bonta and Michael Gates, the challenger, a Republican Deputy U.S. Attorney.
All right, so the votes being counted after they were cast, and let's go to one of the places where the counting's happening. That's in San Joaquin County. Anahita Jafari standing by live, and looks like you got some busy people there behind you.
Yes, they are busy, but cleaning up now. The ballot processing is pretty much over here, but I do want to show you where that final truck actually just left behind me, where that opening is. You can actually see in front of it a screen that previously, when we were live out here, it was red, but just within the last couple of hours, all of the squares on that screen has now turned green, showing that the equipment has all arrived. There are machines more in the center that they're starting to pack up, placing some of those ballots in the baggies, the blue ones, and everyone's really excited that it's wrapping up. They've all been out here for a long time. Some of them say since 6 in the morning, but they're ready to go home. Live in San Joaquin County, I'm Anahita Jafari, KCRA 3 News.
Anahita, thank you. Let's check back in with Curtis. I know you've been following the LA mayor's race.
You know, everybody across the country has been talking about the LA mayor's race, especially when you have a reality star who is in this race. And Karen Bass is advancing, the incumbent, with 37% of the vote right now. Spencer Pratt, our reality villain, has 29% of the vote, and he is still about 30,000 votes ahead of City Council member Nithya Raman. And so we have heard from Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt. Let's listen to what they had to say.
We are going to work together to make sure that this city thrives, that we have business opportunities, that we have work opportunities, and when the world comes in 10 short days, the world will be here for the World Cup, and we're going to show them the magic of Los Angeles.
I got in this because as a citizen, I felt like my city failed myself, my neighbors, my family, and when I got on this mission now, I look around and the city's failing most of Los Angeles.
Well, Karen Bass has never lost a race in her political career. Already Spencer Pratt is challenging her to debates.
All right, thanks.
All right, we've put together some numbers here for the congressional races and some interesting details to bring out here. And you can see this is for the U.S. District House 1. This is for the special election, I believe, that would fill Doug LaMalfa's incompleted term after he passed away.
And this is on track for James Gallagher to win outright. This is not a top 2 situation. If James Gallagher ends up with all the ballots counted with 50% plus 1, there is no runoff, and he is sworn into office and fills the remainder of Doug LaMalfa's term.
To be clear, this is Congressional District 1 under California's maps before Proposition 50.
This is the current district.
District.
All right, let's see what we've got next in terms of graphics.
Now, this is the newly redrawn District 1, and it's a little eye-raising, I guess, if you consider that the district was drawn to favor Democrats, and Gallagher is still in first place, and the challenger there, Mike McGuire, former Senate Pro Tem, there in second place.
There is another Democrat in that race who was currently, I think, has about 13%. So if you add that on, Audrey Denny, to Mike McGuire's numbers, as you might expect going into November, that we could see the Democrat prevail. But we will see. It was drawn for a Democrat to prevail, and so a lot of people may be surprised to see James Gallagher's strength tonight.
We should note Mike McGuire was the leader of the state Senate, which approved and ultimately signed off on the entire process for Proposition 50.
All right, let's look at District 3 right now.
Yeah, Ami Berra, who moved from, let's see, District 6 to District 3.
And they just called Rob Tucker.
Okay,
so it looks like we do know what the runoff is. So Rob Tucker, Nevada County Supervisor, is moving to the runoff in November.
I think we're going to look at the 4th district next. This has been an interesting one with Mike Thompson facing a challenge from the Democratic Party, and it looks like he will advance, and he will have beaten his challenger, Eric Jones, half his age, and it was really one of those Battle of the Ages competitions, but it looks like Mike Thompson has prevailed here and will face Ray Reel.
All right, let's go to Gold Country, District 5, and you can see longtime lawmaker Tom McClintock will advance. He's been in Congress since 2009, and you can see that right behind him is Democratic challenger Michael Masuda is at 23%, but Tom McClintock with a hefty number there will advance to the November election.
Now to the 6th Congressional District. Kevin Kiley currently serves in the 3rd District, has now moved to District 6. It looks like he is in a strong position because there were so many Democrats running in this race, and Democrat Richard Pan looks like he may be in the number 2 position, advancing to November. We have Peyton Headley at Dr. Richard Pan's election night party tonight. What were you hearing from that crowd?
Okay, obviously.
Not a chipmunk, as it sounded there, but...
Yeah, technology will get you when you least expect it, right? Okay, well, we're going to move on right now, and hopefully we'll get the chipmunk situation worked out. District 7, interesting race that a lot of people have been watching. Another one of those generational showdowns, if you will, between Doris Matsu, the incumbent, and one of her challengers, Mai Vang, who is the progressive Democrat. Ashley?
But at last check, the Republican really wasn't far behind.
Behind Vang.
Behind Mai Vang. So that's something to watch, especially as, I mean, again, we're still waiting on a lot of numbers in this area.
Yeah, so we're going to go now to District 8, and this is another one of the districts where we do have kind of a set decision here who's going to advance to November. The incumbent Congressman John Garamendi, and you can see Republican Rudy Rossili, who is a small business owner and a retired U.S. Army major.
Okay, let's go to District 9 right now, and we can show you that the incumbent there, Josh Harder, will advance. Not surprising there at all. We were waiting to see who might be his challenger, and at this point, John McBride is in second place, but you can see that the percentages there are heavily in Josh Harder's favor.
Now we're going to go to District 13, which covers Merced County and parts of several Central Valley counties, and you can see Adam Gray with 42%. And it looks like he is now projected to advance to November. Kevin Lincoln, the former mayor of Stockton, with 28%. As Ashley pointed out, in the last election, Adam Gray just squeaked this one out, less than a percentage point. As these districts were redrawn, they gave him some breathing room, and so this is expected to be an easier election for him coming into November.
And Republican Kevin Lincoln trying once again to get a seat in Congress, because he did last year in Congressional District 9. Now he's trying in this one.
All right. Well, we have much more coming up after this, more election coverage, and we will also check in with Heather Waldman to see how the weather's shaking up for us for the rest of the week. We'll be right back.